Romina Whitworth. I am live on the red carpet here on Hollywood's biggest night. We're still a few hours away from the 91st Academy Awards, but things are already crazy. When you look behind me at the red carpet, you see all these people, and I want to show you, if we go down this way, look at all of this media. Nearly 1,000 media credentials were issued for this event. I'm actually standing next to a reporter from South Africa, which I think is so cool. And then when you look up here, all those fans up there, they have actually been here for hours. There's about 700 of them, and they won those seats through a lottery. How fun is that? This will actually be broadcast in 225 countries. So we have a great show ahead for you tonight. We also have Romina Puga. She is at the Lowe's Hotel, and she is at a watch party, and she has a lot of fun things for us to talk about tonight, which is really exciting. And as we go along, and you're watching, we want you to be involved. So take to Twitter, use the hashtag AskABC, and we have an industry insider that will be joining us later in the show, and he will be able to answer some of the questions you might have. Also, as you're watching, you can see on the side of our screen, we have a really cool live Oscars conversation happening, and the people that are talking there are our ABC experts. They're our entertainment producers. They are in the know, so that's a really fun place to gather some information. And, you know, as we think about this, I want to start our show talking about how the Oscars will end their show. Let's talk about Best Picture, because for the first time in years, really in recent memory, this category is wide open. Nobody knows who is going to win this. And actually, my favorite part about this category is that 6 of the 8 storylines here are at least loosely based on true events. Take a look at the nominees.
Perhaps the most coveted Academy Award, Best Picture.
And the Oscar goes to...
This year, the field is stacked, with the first superhero movie to ever be nominated. Up against Golden Globe winners Bohemian Rhapsody and The Favorite. But it was Green Book that won the Producers Guild Award, often a precursor to the Oscar favorite. Foreign language film Roma giving Netflix its first Best Picture nomination. The black and white film already winning the BAFTA, proving to be an early contender. And director Alfonso Cuarón, no stranger to the stage. It could be his second directing Oscar after winning for Gravity in 2014. 4 of the 8 Best Picture nominees have nominations for Best Director as well, including a first for filmmaking icon Spike Lee, who lent his genius to BlacKkKlansman.
Strangers to stop you on the street and say, you changed my life. That film, this film changed my life. So, to me, it can't get better than that. To know that your art impacted somebody's life.
And a second nomination for Adam McKay, who used his unique style to tell the story of Vice President Dick Cheney, giving Christian Bale the leading role in Vice.
You know, Christian obviously loves a challenge. So when we started talking about what a mystery Dick Cheney was, how he had covered up a lot of parts of his life, and how a lot of what his character was about was interior, was inside, Christian couldn't resist. And then at that point, I knew he was going to go all the way.
So it's interesting because McKay actually suffered a heart attack himself during this movie, and I found it so interesting because in an interview he said that he knew what to do by talking to Christian Bale, because Christian Bale had to act through the 5 heart attacks that Dick Cheney suffered, and so he had told him about all these precursors and the things that you experience. So as Adam McKay was having his heart attack, he knew what was going on, and he actually had Christian Bale to thank for that. I find that so unbelievable. And just a couple of other historic notes I want to mention there is that Roma could make history as the first foreign language film to win Best Picture, and it could also be the first film to win Best Picture and Best Foreign Language Film. So there really is a lot of firsts to talk about throughout the night, including the fact that Spike Lee could be the first African American to win a directing Oscar. So those are things we're going to be watching for tonight. And when you're watching, everybody has their favorite part about the Oscars, but there's something that you see and hear every single year, and you might not even realize how important it is to the show. We want to check in with Romina Puga, who's going to talk to us about the orchestra. And Romina, the orchestra has almost an exaggerated role this year because these winners only have 90 seconds to get from their seat to the stage, give their speech, and get out of there before the orchestra plays them off.
It's true. But Kate, I want to tell you a bit about where I am right now. I'm at the Lowe's Hotel just down the street from you. They're having their own watch party here, complete with signature cocktails to honor some of those Best Picture nominees you mentioned. And yes, the orchestra is the team that you may not see, but you will definitely hear. They play throughout the show. That means throughout the 3-hour show, during commercial breaks. They have to learn all of the Best Song nominees, plus like 100 other songs. We got to sit in on one of their rehearsals this week and talk to their music director, Rickey Minor.
For the Oscars, everything musical that night goes through you. What does that entail?
Crazy. I mean, look at the nominations. So all the films are so musically different. They're all different films, of course, but musically we have a lot of different music, and a lot of world music, a lot of very exciting and some very somber and very moody, and so it's a kick in the head.
So how many musicians will be playing with you on Sunday?
42.
How many pieces do you guys have to prepare for Oscars night?
Last I saw, I think we're somewhere around 170.
170 pieces?
Yeah.
So are those pieces memorized
No,
partially?
nothing's memorized.
Nothing's memorized.
You can't, because there's too much music. Even if it's 50 films, we may end up doing 70 cues because some of them have multiple nominations. A film that has, say, 10 nominations, you can't play the same winner play on. We have to prepare more than one winner play on for that one show.
What is it like playing a winner off?
It's the worst. I did the Emmy Awards a little while back, and I had to play someone else.
Our writers, you are our life's blood. You can play, you can play, you can play. I didn't get that loud, nobody got that loud music. Writers, I love you.
But people have to understand that you're in the moment, you want to think, you're just overwhelmed. I look at the personalities of the presenter and try to find music that either they connect to or something that might inspire them, or just they have fun. If I play something that's fun and upbeat, they may kind of dance their way out. Yeah. I think the music dictates the pacing, and so if it's a very dramatic play on, then that person would come in a little slower and more elegant, elegant play on, very elegant. But if it's someone that's young and full of energy, I wouldn't necessarily use something slow to bring them out.
So you're basically controlling the soundtrack to the night.
Exactly.
Great.
Which is a big responsibility. I think that music is one of the highest vibrations on the planet. It can change your whole mood, and you're feeling down, and you play, and you hear your favorite song on the radio, and next thing you know, you're back up again. So I think music can really, move things along. I'm hoping that that's what the result is.
This group does not get much of a break, so I'm hoping for their sake the show does not run too long, over 3 hours. Kana, how's it going over there?
All right, Romina, thank you so much. I want to introduce everybody to one of my favorite nominees, actually. I'm so glad to get to meet you. This is Diane Warren, everybody. She is the genius behind the song from the RBG movie, the RBG documentary. Look, she's here.
I brought her. She's smaller than you thought, right? We know she's little, but...
But she has a big voice, right?
She does. She has a loud voice.
So I've read that when you were thinking about this song and coming up with it, you sort of felt like you were writing about a real-life superhero here.
Yeah, because she is a real-life superhero, and this song is like her anthem. She's a fighter, right? I mean, what better thing to say to represent her? What do you think, Ruth? She agrees. So when I lose tonight and Gaga wins, she's going to go, I dissent, I dissent.
She's going to bring that gavel down pretty quickly. So the song, of course, is titled I'll Fight. Yeah. Jennifer Hudson will be performing it tonight.
You hear that. I was at the rehearsal. It's going to blow the roof off.
And you sort of had her in mind early on to sing this.
She'd be like Ruth Bader Ginsburg's vocal avatar when you think of it. Because she speaks softly, but if she was a singer, she'd be Jennifer Hudson.
Oh, I love to hear that.
She's, that's her.
That's her fight song. Yeah. So she is, by the way, yes, I do. How's it going, Ruth?
Going really good.
This is my first time I've ever done that on TV.
Why am I speaking? She doesn't really feel like talking. She only talks at certain times. She doesn't like to be interviewed. Uh-oh, it's a big question.
Uh-oh. So Lee. Is Spike Lee walking up?
Spike. Bigger name on the other line. Come on, Spike.
So there is Spike. He looks awesome. And again, as I mentioned, he could be the first African American to win a directing award tonight, which
Is that what that would make him?
Isn't that incredible through his iconic career that he hasn't won a directing award yet? He did win a writing Oscar.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, he's done better than me. I'm 10 times and I haven't won, and I'm not going to win tonight.
No, well, let's talk about that. You've been nominated 10 times, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I know you're saying you don't think you're going to win tonight. You're up against Lady
I'm
Gaga,
up
someone who
against-
you love and respect.
Yeah, I was here when I did Till It Happens to You a few years back. You know, she's, you know, that was an amazing. That's when the one time I kind of thought I was really going to win, that we were going to win, and it didn't.
And you didn't.
Yeah. But tonight I'm kind of relaxed because, you know, it's okay. I got nominated. You know, they picked 5 songs for the Oscars. Like the Grammys have 20 categories of songs. You know, R&B song, country song, song from a movie, best rap song, best whatever song. The Oscars have 1. They have 5 songs. And I'm consistently in there, you know, thank God. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the respect of my peers.
Absolutely. And I know that there's French fries in your future, no matter what, win or lose, right? Is how you do it?
I think I might have to go out for French fries. Yeah.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. You're a true talent. So congratulations on all your nominations.
Congratulate her, too.
Congratulations, Ruth
And I
Bader
think the
Ginsburg.
movie's going to win. I think their documentary, I'm hoping that has a real good chance. I'm really hoping they do.
Awesome. Well, enjoy tonight. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
stopping by to talk to us. Have a wonderful night. She really is an incredible talent. I mean, could you imagine being nominated 10 times? And she's collaborated with Lady Gaga, of course, in the past. So she is really in her corner tonight should Lady Gaga win. And she really is the favorite for Best Original Song, of course, for Shallow in A Star Is Born. So we want to continue on this sound editing topic here. We want to go back to Romina at the Lowe's Hotel watch party. And Romina, it is incredible how important sound editing is to these movies. It really makes them come to life, especially in a movie like Bohemian Rhapsody.
It is. So sound and music can make or break a movie. I mean, it can transport you to space like it did with Ryan Gosling in First Man. It can make you scared to eat your popcorn in a theater like A Quiet Place did. Or it can make you believe that Rami Malek is Freddie Mercury. I got to talk to some of the sound editing nominees about the iconic scenes in some of this year's movies.
Damien wanted to put the audience in the seat of the cockpit, and so he wanted these mission scenes to sound dangerous and claustrophobic.
And in the cockpit scenes, we're with the astronauts. We only know what they know. We can only see what they see. So we need the sound to help tell more of the story, to help carry more of the narrative forward.
It's nothing, Gina. It's us.
The animal sounds just gives it this feeling that it's coming alive and being furious and, you know, intense.
So what animals did you guys use?
For this one part, it's a series of like elephant roars.
Okay.
So here it is. That
Just a bunch of elephants.
So that with this turbine.
Yeah, can we hear it together again?
He wants for the sound to kind of surprise and overwhelm the audience with this massive sensory overload, and then suddenly like you're on the moon and it's like silent. And in a sense, because he wanted space to have this like lonely, chilling feeling.
Baked into the DNA of this story is sound. Sound is this central character. It's both danger and it also winds up being their savior in a way.
So here we're basically experiencing the world as normal hearing people, you know, experience the world. And then here we cut into Regan's her sonic point of view, what John came to call her sonic envelope.
And we loved here having her not hear anything while visually we see the creature. There's something haunting about that. We brainstormed like, okay, what real creatures in the world are blind but use sound to navigate the world? And the first thing that we thought of were like bats, but they just felt a little too familiar, and we wanted something a little more alien. So we started looking for other sounds that had that clicking pattern that reminds us of echolocation. And we stumbled upon this prop in the shop, which is a stun gun. This is 1.5 million volts of electricity.
Okay.
So that's why we did not use an intern for recording this sound. We used grapes instead. Now let's take that down, slow it down 75%.
We're here at the Fox lot. We're about to talk to the sound design team behind Bohemian Rhapsody. They're nominated for an Oscar, and they're going to break down how they nailed Freddie Mercury's iconic voice.
For Live Aid, we used Freddie's vocal, but we did also, I went through and I did find little bits and pieces of Rami's breath and lip smack and inhales and blows on the mic. We got a whole library of things from Rami that I could weave into Freddie's vocal to make it really feel like Rami is singing with Freddie's voice. So, because it was just so important that you never question that.
The first thing we shot was Live Aid. That was the start of the shoot.
Oh, wow.
So that was quite intimidating for everyone. And I always remember thinking, well, I mean, if we feel like this, how does Rami feel right now? He's going to go out on stage and become Freddie.
All we hear is Radio Gaga. So this is We Are the Champions in Live Aid, and I'll play you just the crowd and everything that we added. Well, this is just the music. Just the music. It is the music from the original multi-tracks of Live Aid in 1985, and we did a complete remix on that.
One of the layers of the sound, the Live Aid crowd sound, is that Fox had this amazing campaign, and they asked people to download an app to a smartphone and to sing along with Bohemian Rhapsody. We got a call saying, could we send you all these recordings and could you try and put them in the movie? And so we said, well, how many do you think there might be? They said, well, tens of thousands, maybe 100,000.
My trigger now is dead, Mama.
That's where it would be. Someone's iPhone recording is in that mix.
Yes.
That's so cool.
That's tens of thousands of individual iPhone recordings along with all of the other crowd work that we've done.
I wish I would have known about that Bohemian Rhapsody campaign, because I definitely would have submitted my tone-deaf version. And Queen is performing tonight at the Oscars, and they just tweeted about it. Check it out. Saying, what's all this then? Kana?
Wow, Romina, I have to tell you, when I was watching that movie, you know, I always knew that I loved some Queen songs. I mean, I've had Under Pressure on my phone for the last 10 years, but I forgot how much I actually really, really loved Queen, and I think that was an experience that a lot of people had. And as we know, Rami Malek's performance was second to none. And it's interesting because in the category of Best Actor this year, when you look back over the years, 6 of the last 8 Oscar winners have actually come from biopics. So Rami Malek's depiction of Freddie Mercury looks like he has the lock here on the Oscars this year, unless there's a big upset. So let's take a look at those nominees.
Everyone is looking at Rami Malek to win the Oscar for his role as Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody. The 37-year-old already winning the Golden Globe and BAFTA. This is his first Academy Award nomination. Christian Bale, who transformed himself into Vice President Dick Cheney in Vice, could win his second Oscar.
George, I'm the CEO.
And Willem Dafoe's performance described as spellbinding when portraying Vincent van Gogh in a lesser-known movie, At Eternity's Gate.
Everything outside and inside of me.
Oh, it's prestigious, this kind of recognition. It also lifts you out of the pack a little bit. It helps the film get seen, and I think if the people see the film, it'll be a new aspect of my performing that they maybe aren't familiar with.
Viggo Mortensen's role as Frank Vallelonga, the driver for classical pianist Don Shirley in the highly acclaimed Green Book, has people buzzing.
Check the nuggets and the collard greens.
And Bradley Cooper flexing his acting, vocal, and directing muscles as the only non-fictional character, Jackson Maine, in A Star is Born.
Maybe it's time to let the old ways die.
His co-star Sam Elliott, the surprise nominee for Best Actor in a Supporting Role. His first nomination after more than 50 years in the business. But insiders believe Mahershala Ali is the clear winner in this category. He has already won the Golden Globe, SAG Award, and BAFTA for his role in Green Book. Adam Driver getting his first Oscars nod in Black Klansman. And last year's winner Sam Rockwell nominated again, this time for his role as former President George W. Bush in Vice.
People always said that. Yeah.
Well, I had to imitate him, obviously. He's the most famous person I've ever played. I played real people, but nobody as famous. So, really, and the way that he talks is very famous. It's not unlike Marilyn Monroe or Elvis Presley or somebody. Everybody has an opinion on how George W. talks. So you really have to nail it or you're in trouble.
Richard Grant rounding out the category in Can You Ever Forgive Me?
I'll drink to that. Cheers.
Okay, so we have to keep in mind that Willem Dafoe, Bradley Cooper, and Christian Bale have all been nominated 4 times for Oscars, for acting Oscars. Christian Bale, the only winner there. I have to tell you, I know it sounds like Rami Malek is a lock, and Rami's sort of your favorite guy in this category, right?
I loved him. I think his performance in Bohemian Rhapsody, what you were saying earlier, is spot on. He was able to divorce his character from Rami. I think that's something that is a little bit different. You would see the characters of in Star is Born. I could kind of feel that Gaga still wanted to come out in Ali in the performance. I think Rami was able to kind of separate himself and his character, Freddie Mercury.
Well, what about Bradley Cooper? I have to say, and I don't know how all of you watching feel about this, but Bradley Cooper to me was unbelievable. He directed himself. He did his own singing. I just thought he was phenomenal.
I love me some Bradley Cooper. Come on. I can't even, yes. But I just think Rami is just such a huge contender in this category because it's the immense talent. My jaw was on the floor the entire movie. And I was just reading a recent interview, I think this week he gave. It's like a really great Hollywood story. When he was out there not too long ago delivering pizza boxes, he would put his headshot on pizza boxes and send them out. Like, come on. If that's not humble beginnings, I don't know what is. And eventually a casting director got a hold of it, called him in. He was on a set the next day.
You're going to harken back to the old days. I like it. I appreciate that. And I thought Rami Malek was excellent too, but Bradley Cooper really was my favorite. I feel like he's not getting enough love.
The entire category. It's an incredible set of talent.
Yeah.
But my bet's on Rami.
Gotcha.
I'm Team Rami.
And one thing that's interesting too is, so if you watch A Star is Born, you notice Bradley Cooper's voice. He actually modeled his voice after his co-star Sam Elliott's actual voice, and Sam Elliott, a bit of a surprise in the Best Supporting Actor category. Does Mahershala Ali have any chance of losing this?
Again, it's Mahershala, but I'm going to have to dissent a little bit. Sam Rockwell.
Really?
Yes, loved. This mesmerized the entire film. So I don't know, we're going to have to do a little post-Oscars chat here, see where we end up.
And Richard E. Grant getting some love too from the Academy. He is beloved by all of Hollywood as well. So it'll be really interesting, I think, how that category turns out. Question for you. By the way, this is Toni Morrison. He is our entertainment producer at ABC. How did you arrive at the Oscars today?
How did I arrive? Well, on foot with many lattes in hand.
Me too. And
backpack and just many things.
Me too. In my Uggs, by the way. There's no high heels happening right now.
We got some sneakers back here. Some heels and sneakers, a bag full of alternate footwear ready to go.
Yeah.
It's very glamorous here on the carpet.
So we walked and/or Ubered here, but that is definitely not how the stars come. We want to take you overhead because we have to show you the limos that are arriving here. It is so fancy and so fun. So the stars get out of their limos, then they walk this long red carpet. And Romina Puga had a chance to talk with, we're just calling him today, it makes me laugh kind of, the limo guy. Right, Romina?
the limo wrangler. Norm Kennard takes his job very seriously. The red carpet's open, the nominees are arriving in style, and you might be wondering, how do all these limos navigate that crazy LA traffic? Well, they don't. Norm Kennard is in charge of all of the car services tonight. We got to talk to him about his work. Do you coordinate who gets there first? Because the red carpet's all about who's like the last person to arrive. Who chooses that?
Unfortunately, I don't have that much control. Every so often we'll get a call for somebody important that needs to go very quickly, so we'll take care of that, but there's no pecking order.
Are the drivers watching the show to see if their guest won or lost, or kind of get the mood before they go pick them up after the Oscars end?
That's a great question. We house the drivers, we feed the drivers, we also pipe in the show so they can see it, know exactly if their passenger won, if they lost. That's going to determine kind of how the rest of their night is going to go.
So you have this line of black limos, black SUVs. What's the weirdest request you've gotten from someone?
We get some odd cars. We get some old vintage cars that sometimes they look nice, but they barely make it out of the arrivals area. And once we did have someone arrive in the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
Who was that?
I can't say.
You can't say?
I can't say.
They just wanted to ride in the Oscar Mayer Wiener.
And it was spectacular, to say the least.
We've done some digging on who rode that Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, and there is nothing online. It is killing me. Kana, what's your guess? Who do you think rode the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile?
Is it going to be some of the presenters like Dana Carvey, maybe? I'm feeling like this whole Wayne's World thing coming out of nowhere. Oh, that's good too. That's good too. That'll be fun to see. I like that. Romina, thank you so much. That's fantastic. Again, Tony and I arrived here on foot and or in Ubers, not limos. We're not fancy like that. I want to talk now about a really cool category this year. It's Best Documentary Short. And it's so fantastic this year because there is a film, it's called Period, End of Sentence. This is a film that was produced by a local Los Angeles high school teacher and her students. And it follows the story of how they tried to bring what's called the PAD Project to rural areas in India where women have no way to deal with menstruation, and there's a lot of shame attached to it. So they are nominated for an Oscar tonight, and a lot of people are looking at them to win, and I had a chance to catch up with them as they passed us on the red carpet. Take a listen. You are walking the red carpet at the Oscars. This is absolutely unbelievable. Tell me how you feel about it.
Exhilarated, overwhelmed, humbled, grateful, everything.
How about you?
I think just really grateful to be here with our team, a group of women that are so fierce and have worked so hard for so long to get this issue on the world stage, and here we are, we've done it. This is it.
And for you, it is a long trip and it was not an easy one. I know this is the first time that she's left a village in India, and here she is in Hollywood on the biggest stage on the planet right now. How is she feeling about that?
I think she was very nervous coming in because even though she hasn't done it, just the expectations from her seem super high, and we had like a 30-hour flight coming in here, came in here 2 days ago, the jet lag. But I think she's doing great. She's doing super. Certainly looks beautiful. Yeah.
Looks gorgeous. I love it. Bringing some true Indian culture, I feel like, to our red carpet, which I love. Tell me, have you shared with them how empowered you feel now after this PAD project?
तो ये पूछ रहे हैं कि तो ये पूछ रहे हैं कि आपको जो पैड प्रोजेक्ट हुआ है जिसकी वजह से चीज़ें बदली है उसके बारे में आपकी ज़िंदगी कितनी उभर के आई है?
मेरी लाइफ में वो सब हो रहा है जो मैंने कभी एक्सपेक्ट नहीं किया था। इतना कुछ हो रहा है, सब लोग मेरे को इतना पहले तो सब लोग जो ये बोलते थे ना कि ये तुमको यार और कोई काम नहीं मिला करने को, यही काम मिला करने को, आज वो ऑस्कर का नाम सुन के और ये सुन के कि मैं अमेरिका तक पहुंच गई हूँ तो वो बहुत खुश हैं, उनकी वो सोच एकदम से बदल गई है।
So she's saying that when she started working on the pad machine, there was a lot of stigma attached to that. People in the village around her would just be like, you know, this is not the right place for you to be working. But ever since the film got nominated and she's been flown here, all of that has changed, and now people are like supporting her 100%.
Isn't that incredible? It's an unbelievable project, and could you imagine, it is her first trip out of her rural village in India, and she's here. She's in Hollywood. She's on the red carpet, perhaps going to take the stage and win an Oscar tonight. It is really a compelling story, and one that is far from over as far as the PAD project is concerned. Now, we know when people watch other award shows, they look forward to the performances, and tonight the Oscars will not disappoint. This is sure to be a music-heavy event. You may have heard by now that Queen is set to open the show with We Will Rock You. Adam Lambert has been performing as their frontman for many years, filling in for the late Freddie Mercury. So we want to take a look back, though, at some of the best original song nominations for this year, because some of them have become just, you know, standard on your playlist now, I feel like. I mean, who doesn't have Shallow on their playlist? Let's take a look.
By now, you've likely heard Shallow from A Star is Born. Music and lyrics by Lady Gaga, Mark Ronson, Anthony Rossimondo, and Andrew Wyatt has already collected several awards, including the Golden Globe and the Grammy. Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper plan on performing the duet on the Oscars stage tonight. Another favorite coming from Kendrick Lamar and SZA for All the Stars in Black Panther. Mark Charmaine could collect an EGOT before the night is over if he wins the Oscar for The Place Where Lost Things Go from Mary Poppins Returns, which he wrote with Scott Whitman. Jennifer Hudson will be on stage to sing I'll Fight, the powerful ballad from RGB, written by Diane Warren in her 10th nomination.
You know, she speaks so softly, but what she says is so powerful. And I wanted to write a song that captured that.
First-time nominees Gillian Welch and David Rawlings hoping to draw a win for When a Cowboy Trades His Spurs for Wings from the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
When a cowboy trades his spurs for wings.
So tonight, keep in mind that Where Lost Things Go will actually be performed by Bette Midler. And also, I read this, and I want to share it with you. Bohemian Rhapsody has now become the most streamed song of the 20th century, in part, of course, because of the success of Bohemian Rhapsody. But again, Shallow seems to be the favorite, not just mine, not just yours. How about Kermit the Frog? He loves it too. I wanted to show you guys a tweet from Kermit the Frog. Here we go. He says, I must be off the deep end posing for this poster with someone as shallow as Miss Piggy, no offense. Don't worry, I'm a frog, so I'll swim through. Good luck at the Oscars. Lady Gaga. Hey, whenever we can get Kermit the Frog in the show, I love it. I have to be honest with you, my first trip down Hollywood Boulevard, I actually took a picture by his star. That was the star that I chose to take a picture next to. What does that say about me? I don't know. Another interesting category, of course, is costume design. And so Sandy Powell, this woman in costume design, has 14 career nominations. That is more than any living human being, which is unbelievable. And she's actually competing against herself tonight, which is hard to imagine, for her costume design in Mary Poppins and The Favorite. And Romina had a chance to really get in with a costume designer and show us what it's all about.
We're here at a costume design exhibition at the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles. There are over 100 costumes on display here from over 25 films of the last year, including the 5 nominated for Best Costume Design. Behind me are the costumes from Mary Queen of Scots. Alexandra Byrne designed these gowns. This is the one that Saoirse Ronan wore as Mary Stuart, the dress that Margot Robbie wore as Queen Elizabeth I. And I want to take you from the 16th century to another period piece in the 18th century. The Favorite. Sandy Powell designed these unique costumes that Emma Stone, Olivia Colman, and Rachel Weisz wore. Sandy is actually nominated for 2 movies this year. She also did the costumes for Mary Poppins Returns, and there are 5 costumes on display here, 3 of Emily Blunt's, 2 of Lin-Manuel Miranda's, and these 2 are from the storybook scene. They are hand-painted.
Sing for us, Mary Poppins. Do sing for us.
No, I couldn't possibly. And over here, a totally different genre, a Western, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Mary Zofres designed these costumes for the Coen brothers. She's done so many of their films. And I want to take you also to meet Ruth Carter, who designed the costumes of Black Panther. She's going to tell us how she brought together traditional African tribes with that futuristic, most technologically advanced nation in the world, Wakanda. I read that you guys had a Wakandan Bible to outline each of the tribes. Who wrote that? How did you guys rely on that for the costumes?
Well, when you're creating a world, everybody has to be on the same page. And Ryan Coogler and Hannah Beekler, the production designer, who's also nominated, they created a manual, and it was like our Wakandan Bible, and it talked about each tribe in Wakanda, more tribes than we actually displayed in the movie. We actually cut it in half, but each tribe had a list of which actual tribes in Africa that we would be inspired by.
So you worked with 3D printing,
yes,
right? Had you ever done that before?
No, I had just really heard about that technology with regards to adornment and costume work and fashion.
Yeah.
This piece here on Ramonda, it's her shoulder mantle, her collar piece, as well as her ishikolo, her hat, were both 3D printed. And what we tried to do was take all of the styling of the ishikolo hat. You know, usually it's a woven hat and it's done by hand. So we really wanted to keep the integrity of the hat.
What was the inspiration behind this and that mix of this vibranium and future technology?
I say, how do we turn this suit into this story of Africa? We added a small little triangular pattern that's all over the suit. The triangle is kind of the sacred geometry of Africa, and we thought that the triangle would be a really beautiful symbol for this suit in particular.
Can you tell us what you'll be wearing at the Oscars?
I will be wearing a few things, something African inspired, but not African, and something queenly, but not the queen, and something very me as well.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything, sort of like Wakanda.
So excited to see what Ruth Carter ends up wearing tonight. Black Panther is being nominated for 6 films tonight, and I want to show you the Black Panther cocktail. This is Theo Nelder. He's a manager here at Lowe's, and the Black Panther cocktail has some interesting inspiration. Can you tell me why you guys created it like this?
Absolutely. So it was actually inspired from the heart-shaped herb, and that's actually the name of the cocktail. And that was the flower in the movie that gave Black Panther his actual powers. So as you can see, the cocktail has an edible hibiscus flower. We used a little bit of butterfly pea flower to actually turn it purple, and it kind of looks exactly like the actual heart-shaped herb that was in the movie. And it tastes just as good as it looks.
Now, Theo, I have to ask you, who do you think is going to win Best Picture?
What a great question. I'm rooting for Black Panther. Bohemian Rhapsody was also one of my absolute favorites, so hopefully one of those two.
It's anyone's game this year, right?
Who knows? But good luck to all of the nominees this year.
Thank you so much, Theo. Kana, how's it going on the red carpet?
Your Best Actress talks, as he's got to go. Hey, you guys. Romina, I have a quick question. Since obviously I'm huge pregnant, if they make it a mocktail, does it have the same power? I need to know.
I was going to run one to you after this. I'm going to have them do the Black Panther, but as a mocktail for you. Or whichever one wins, that's what I'll have them do the mocktail for.
Okay, all right, she's gonna hold him to it. Romina, thank you so much, that's so fun. So everybody, I want to introduce you to Mike Muse. He is our industry insider, our expert here. We're going to talk about Best Actress, and we're going to show you the nominees here in a second. But my favorite part about this category for Best Actress is that nobody has won an Oscar in it.
I know. That's what makes it so exciting. And I'm excited for this category. I know there's lots of buzz and lots of talk for Lady Gaga, but I actually love Glenn Close. The role that she portrayed in The Wife was absolutely amazing. She was able to take us through the pacings very steadily, and you saw there was some friction happening between her and her husband, and we didn't know why, but then at the end it came to light. And it showed just the raw emotions of what sometimes the supporting partner has to do to suppress themselves to elevate their partner in times when it really isn't fair. And so her ability to portray that was absolutely amazing. And one more thing I have have to add is Melissa McCarthy. I feel like we have not talked about her enough this award season. She literally lost herself in that movie, and I think that her role is fantastic. And I believe that the credit should go, if you're able to lose oneself in the role, you should recognize that. I saw no
Without
comedy.
a prosthetic, by the way.
Without a prosthetic, I completely removed the fact that she's a comedian. I was like, wow, you're a dramatized actor. Fantastic.
A busy couple days for Melissa McCarthy, who just also won a Razzie. So that, she could be making history there should she win a Razzie and an Oscar in like 24 hours.
Talk about doubling it up.
Yeah. So we want to run through so you can see everybody's, so you can see all the nominations. Let's take a look at them.
First-time nominations for Best Actress in a Leading Role handed down to Yalitza Aparicio. The breakout star of Roma, who was planning on becoming a preschool teacher, could become the first Indigenous woman to ever win the coveted award and only the second Mexican actress to do so in her first acting gig ever.
I don't sing my own songs.
Lady Gaga, also a first-time nominee for her role in A Star is Born. She's also nominated for Best Original Song Shallow, which she co-wrote for the movie.
I've actually carried my books here.
And you are?
Lee Israel.
And Melissa McCarthy garnering her first nomination in this category in Can You Ever Forgive Me?
Look at me! How dare you! Close your eyes!
Olivia Colman also gets her first nomination for her portrayal of Queen Anne in The Favorite. She's already taken home the 2019 BAFTA, but the real favorite seems to be Glenn Close in The Wife.
I had some potential.
At 71 years old, the actress has never won an Oscar, though she's been nominated 7 times. And leading the pack for Best Actress in a Supporting Role is Regina King, who already won the Golden Globe in If Beale Street Could Talk. Her biggest competition could be from Amy Adams, who collects her 6th Academy Award nomination for her role as Lynn Chaney in Vice. And a surprise nomination for Aparicio's co-star in Roma, Marina Tavira. And Emma Stone, whose shelf already holds an Oscar for Best Actress in a Leading Role, nominated along co-star Rachel Weisz, also a previous Oscar winner, for their roles in The Favorite.
And for me, what I'm hearing, I sort of have to agree with our expert Mike Muse there, who talked about Glenn Close. I mean, at 71 years old, she has a career that spans over 4 decades, and not only was her performance in The Wife unbelievable, but people that I've talked to just want to see her win. It's almost like a career award at this point. They want to hear her speech, and it was unbelievable. And then really, when you look at the Best Supporting Actress, we keep talking about Regina King. It seems that nobody can hold a candle to her and her performance in If Beale Street Could Talk. She seems to have that absolutely locked and well deserving of that role as well. She's had a very storied and very long Hollywood career herself. And when we talk about these women, we talk about their performances and how talented they are. We also talk about how gorgeous they are and what they're wearing and their gowns and their jewelry. You can never overlook the jewelry. And so I had a really cool opportunity to spend some time on Rodeo Drive with Martin Katz. I know, it was a really tough assignment. Just bear with me through this one. And he talked about how he dresses the stars in their jewelry, and the idea of all of these stars borrowing their jewels really started with him. Take a look.
With celebrities preparing to dazzle in diamonds on the red carpet, this morning we're taking you behind the bling. Meet Martin Katz, the jewelry genius for nearly 3 decades.
It wasn't always this way, where celebrities would be wearing borrowed jewelry. You really started that trend with none other than Sharon Stone.
I get a call to Martin, fantastic news. Sharon loved the necklace and earrings you showed her and wants to borrow them for her premiere of Basic Instinct. I thought she wanted to buy them. I'm sorry, I don't loan jewelry.
Eventually, Katz letting her wear the jewels. Katz had changed the game forever.
One of my most iconic looks, I think, was on Nicole Kidman in that green Galliano gown.
With the earrings?
With the Indian mogul earrings.
Katz sharing a few moments when the baubles almost didn't make it back to him.
Minnie Driver had a ruby bracelet caught on her dress. The beads went flying, and she and James Cameron are on their hands and knees in the auditorium picking up the ruby beads. But we got them all back.
Stars could be wearing up to $20 million worth of jewels at a time. This $5,000 necklace can be worn 3 different ways.
You can connect it and make it a diamond chain. What makes it more fun, if you can, is just to do a little bit of the looping.
Oh my gosh, just like tying a diamond in a knot.
This also breaks down so you can wear them as classic chokers. And then you can run another row. See?
Wow. It's amazing how practical you can make a $150,000 bracelet seem, you know?
That's the idea.
Fun of me for telling him how practical he could make all that jewelry. Like, I want to introduce everybody to Derek Yanohiro. He was my producer on this story, and this was really, really fun.
Well, look at you.
Look, we want to show you some jewelry. Hold on.
Show them off.
Is Melissa McCarthy coming down the red carpet right now? Someone just said she's coming down. Oh, okay. We have a side shot of Melissa McCarthy. Not to totally derail the jewelry conversation, but how fantastic is her night tonight as she is nominated after having just won the Razzie Award. A lot of people would love to see Melissa McCarthy win tonight. They're upset that her movie was not nominated for Best Picture as well. So Melissa McCarthy rocking the pantsuit. Good for her. We love to see that. And where is he? Willem Dafoe's right there. He is. It's so fantastic to see these stars, and you see the fans just go crazy when the stars walk by. Oh, Willem Dafoe, come talk to. Do you want to come talk to ABC? Oh, we just. We'll grab Willem Dafoe here in a second. So let's talk about the jewelry. So when we left Martin Katz, I was so nervous about the jewelry that I was taking home. So if you look, so these are the earrings. I've been getting so many compliments on the earrings, actually.
Almost $700,000 worth of jewels on you.
Yeah, which is
no
scary.
pressure.
That counts with the ring that you see here. This diamond is 150 years old, and for some reason he let me take it out of the store.
Well, we're going to guard you all night long.
And then, of course,
no one let her out of our sight.
I can't go anywhere. And then, of course, you see the bracelet here. It is really, it's fantastic. One of my favorite stories, though, that he shared, we talked about Minnie Driver, but he also said that he loaned a necklace to Courtney Love and that she couldn't get it off, and so she had to sleep in it. And he went the next day to take it off. What a strange job.
He has so many great stories. I mean, he's the guy that started the trend of borrowing jewelry for the red carpet. I mean, you have great stories about it.
And it almost a trend that didn't go. I mean, I joked with him that he was like the first man to ever turn down Sharon Stone, and probably the last.
Did not want to let her borrow his jewels. And he finally gave in, and look what happened.
It is an absolute trend. And he's one of the only jewelers that these days doesn't, he allows people to borrow their jewels. Most actors are getting paid now. So it's very interesting to see how he handles that. Oh, Willem Dafoe's come here. Hi!
How are you?
How are you?
Very
Congratulations
good.
on your nomination.
Great, thank you.
Wow, how are you feeling?
Good. You know, it's energetic here. It's crazy. You run into friends. There's expectations. You want to have some surprises.
Your depiction of Vincent van Gogh has been so complimented. The words that I usually do not hear. That must be honoring for you in itself.
I'm very happy that people love the movie, and that's good because I love the movie too. It was a great experience, and I think it's a very rare movie that kind of slips all the trappings of a traditional biopic and really addresses a historical figure in a way that doesn't just try to account for them, but kind of puts you into a place of imagination and wonder about who they may have been. It doesn't flat out say who they are.
Absolutely. For you, what was the most interesting part of your research?
I think learning to paint.
Yeah.
And also his letters are so beautiful and inspirational, and filming in the places that he was.
Like?
It was in Auvers-sur-Oise, in Paris. We were filming in places, in landscapes that were recognizable in his paintings, and that's like touching something that you're communing with him. it's easier to imagine the things he was experiencing because you're in that same space.
Absolutely. What would you say then was your biggest challenge here?
My biggest challenge was, I think, to keep it clean and not get ahead of myself and have an experience that was really like a person's life, where you're not, you're losing yourself in what you're doing. And Van Gogh talked about that a lot. He didn't think when he was painting. It was an intuitive thing. It was a place that he was in touch with a higher power. Through nature, he really felt like he was in the presence of God, you know? And that's pretty powerful.
I agree. It seems to me that you're a bit of a changed man after living through his eyes here.
You know, it was a beautiful experience, and it did change how I see. And in talking about the film and thinking about the film, I get very excited because it does inspire me. He's an inspiring figure.
You know, I feel like it's a huge compliment to you getting nominated this year and last year for a little bit of a lesser-known movie in the Florida Project, and again this year.
Also this movie as well. Yeah. They're both smaller movies. But no, I'm very happy that there's enough people seeing it, and they feel deeply enough about it that it's not just about, you know, supporting what maybe everyone's talking about.
Yeah. A huge congratulations to you, and might I add, the Navy looks awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
you're
best
looking
of
pretty
luck.
good yourself.
Oh, thank you. You know, to get things over the baby bump was a really interesting challenge.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Thank you so much. Best of luck to you tonight. Oh, that's so fun. That's so interesting to hear from him, his perspective on playing Vincent van Gogh and how much that has changed him. Again, as we sort of talked about briefly, he has been nominated 2 years in a row for movies that are just a little bit lesser known, which speaks volumes to his performance in these movies. It's been incredible. Again, that's his 4th nomination. And so I just want you guys to know, as we're watching, we're seeing Spike Lee come down, so we're hoping we can try and talk with him here in a minute. Of course, he could make history tonight. But one of the things that makes these movies some of our favorites year after year is the visual effects department and how much they put into the movie after it's shot. So Romina Puga, again, can take us down that road.
A lot of movies relied on visual effects this year. We caught up with Rob Brito, who worked on Solo, a Star Wars story, about how CGI and actors work hand in hand.
One of the fun things we looked to do on this film was really put the actors inside the cockpit in a new way. Usually we might shoot the cockpit with a green screen or a blue screen around and then put all the visual effects in later. But this time we did it all live on set, so visual effects were done in advance. Wow. And then when the actors got in the cockpit, we actually surprised them with this. They just saw stars out the cockpit, and the first time they hit the hyperspace levers, we put them into hyperspace, we shook the cockpit, and it actually kind of freaked them out. They were like, oh my gosh, this thing is real, we're really going into space. So it really enhanced the actors' performances.
Since when do you know how to fly?
How much of an influence are the originals in these graphics?
It's interesting when somebody like Dennis Muren, who worked on the first film, he comes and looks at it and he's like, well, do something new, create something new.
Really?
So we're trying to honor the past and use some of those legacy techniques, especially things that are practical and real on set, but also like break new ground, because that's what they were doing when they were making these films.
You can't wipe them off. They're holograms.
We're here at the Disney Animation Building. We're about to talk to the video effects team behind Avengers: Infinity War. They're nominated for an Oscar for the effects. We're going to find out what went into turning Josh Brolin into the evil Thanos.
Insect. I think Thanos was something we were all, from the very beginning, we knew, if Thanos didn't work, then the movie wouldn't work.
We took the character of Thanos and mixed in a little bit of Josh Brolin to Thanos. Imagine like a 3D morph, getting some of the proportions of Josh Brolin's eyes, things like that, which we knew would help sell the performance later.
It's just the way it is.
The level of emotional connectivity to Thanos, who was a fully CG character, and the way that they were able to translate Josh Brolin into the body of an 8-foot alien. And audiences all around the world responded, reacted, and were angry, passionate, moved, all because of a CG character.
The other key thing to remember that is the technology gets better and better and better. It still comes down to story, and that's what these guys do. They tell great stories. And I think you can have all the technology in the world, but if you don't have the storytelling and you don't have the artists behind it to control that, then you're just left with empty technology.
It's incredible how far we've come with visual effects. I mean, when you saw Infinity Wars, as I did, everyone was crying in the theaters at the end of the movie, and when you think about it, that's a completely computer-generated character making you feel those feelings. So we're in an exciting time for visual effects and movie making. Kana?
Wow, that is really cool. Romina, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. I want to point out that they just passed on the red carpet. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, they're going to be presenting tonight. And from everything that I have read about the rehearsals, they are absolutely hysterical. They will not disappoint. I am really looking forward to seeing those two on the red carpet tonight. Also, after the Oscars, everybody goes to Wolfgang Puck and they go to the after party, and this year's theme is called Filmscape, and so they're really trying to stick with that theme, and they have some really cool things going on food-wise, but they also have their old staples. So I was able to talk with Wolfgang and some of his chefs as they pass down the red carpet. So we'll show you some of the things that those stars will be nibbling on at the Governor's Ball after the Academy Awards.
Good to see you. Thank you.
I've been eating your food, and so I've been getting a big belly.
Good. That's the chicken pot pie.
That's the chicken pot pie.
Every time.
Your most famous dish. It's my understanding this is ham, right? That's new this year.
We brought the ham from Spain. We actually brought the ham and the ham cutter all from Spain. And we brought the Miyazaki beef from southern Japan, which is amazing. Truffles from Perigord for agnolotte with peas and black truffles. And naturally, everybody loves the potatoes with caviar. I mean, you finish, you win or you don't win, you have that with some champagne and you're happy.
And it's glorious. Over 6,000 of these statues made, right?
Chocolate with 24 karat gold. And then we have, look at the camel here with the dessert.
Favorite. This was my favorite, the champagne lollipop.
Oh, you know it all already. And this is my favorite. This is the Black Forest cake in the shape of a cherry. So it has dark chocolate, white chocolate, and cherries inside.
It's absolutely gorgeous, covered in gold. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good to see you.
Those desserts are to die for. Now, the Miyazaki Wagyu beef was actually at the Governor's Ball last year as well, so I had the opportunity to try it twice. It quite literally melts in your mouth. There is absolutely nothing like it. So to experience what some of those stars will get to experience at the Governor's Ball is really cool. Plus, all that food is paired with Piper Heidsieck wine and Piper Heidsieck champagne and Francis Ford Coppola wine. And that wine, the grapes, actually come from his own property in Napa, which is really cool. And apparently, not shocking, the Chardonnay paired with the famous chicken pot pie is just to die for. So that's a pretty fun thing that everyone does before they head to the Vanity Fair party. And of course, the night ends, we keep talking about it, with Best Picture, and we have no idea who is going to win Best Picture. I'm bringing in our entertainment producer, Tony Morrison, yet again. Best Picture, it's interesting because I hear that it's wide open, and then I talk to other people and they're like, Roma has it. Why are we even talking about this? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think really, for the first time in a very long time, there really hasn't been such a wide, varied field for the nominees for Best Picture with no clear frontrunner. Anyone could really take this, but I think a win for Roma would really signal that it's not a popularity contest in Hollywood. It's not about who grosses the most money. It's not about who watched the film X amount of times. Maybe it's not about the most streams. It's really about what is a good film, and I think Roma embodies everything that is a good film. It is a period piece of a love letter to the women in Mexico that raised Alfonso Cuarón. I just think it has all the feels, has everything that really ticks off all those boxes for a Best Picture that really is deserving to win, and it is a history maker already. Well, take it home.
Yeah, and Alfonso Cuarón, of course, could win for Best Director and Best Cinematographer, and that has never been done either. But the voting process is interesting and how that plays out, so you could see some surprises here. I'm hearing Green Book could be a surprise. Some are saying don't be shocked if Black Panther wins. I don't know.
Again, it really could go to anyone.
Yeah.
And I think that is what's going to keep everyone watching to the end of the show tonight.
Yeah. Romina, do you have a pick for what will win?
I'm with Tony. I think Roma is going to take home the award this year.
Was it your favorite movie, though?
I loved The Favorite. I loved Bohemian Rhapsody. But it might be. Actually, yes, it is. It was so beautifully done, the cinematography, everything.
All right, so these two are on Roma. I'm undecided. Thank you so much, Tony.
Thank you guys.
You're the best.
We're just getting started down here, man.
No kidding. I want to give you one last look here at the red carpet. Things are getting really crazy. The Academy Awards, the 91st show here is just a few hours away. This is a night, no matter what, you will see history made tonight. So please, everybody, enjoy the show. Thank you for spending this time with us. We absolutely loved it. The 91st Academy Awards are about to get